Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Summer of Sport. This is a BookTube event created by Mark at Book Time with Elvis, designed to encourage you to prioritize sports writing, sports-related stuff, over the summer. A good goal because sports writing and also to a limited extent sports fiction is underrepresented on BookTube. It's a popular subgenre, and it tends to bring out a lot of really good writing in the people who do it and have done it for 150 years. So, and more importantly, perhaps, since this is all about me, my summer of sport experiences have been very good. By and large, so far this summer, they've been very good. I mean to do more of it because that's enticing to me. When I strike a vein that I don't usually read and the experiences are mostly good, I want to do more. But last night was a reread of a book that I read. I read it in galleys. I read it in the finished copy, and I believe I reviewed it. Can't for the life of me remember where I reviewed it. Was it Booklist? Was it Kirkus Reviews? Was it Christian Science Monitor? Was it somewhere? Maybe even the National on the other side of the world. I don't remember who I reviewed it for. But it's this. It's William Cohen's book, The Price of Silence, which is about the 2006 Duke lacrosse scandal, in which a performer at a team party accused three members of the lacrosse team of sexual assault, uh, entrapment, all kinds of things. It was a huge deal back in 2006. And it's been the subject of a great deal of reporting ever since because that woman was lying. And there was a huge fallout from that. There was a huge fallout from, first, the broader media's willingness, almost immediate willingness, to believe the worst of these athletes. And I chalk myself up in that camp right away. I don't want to give any false illusions in this video. I know very well. I know with firsthand intimacy the godlike sense of impunity that is imparted to the men who are on elite sports teams for schools. No matter what the sports team is and no matter what the school. I knew this in Austin, Texas. I knew this especially in Iowa City, Iowa. And I didn't doubt it for a minute when it came to the Duke lacrosse team. Is that their stars? I didn't doubt for a minute that they did this, that they did it with impunity, that they thought the school would close ranks to protect them. And the natural sequelae from there is that I felt sure that I knew what these guys were like. I felt sure that I knew that I would have wanted to punch them if I'd known them when we were all undergraduates together. They would have been the kind of undergraduate jock that I routinely hated, which was drastically different from the kind of undergraduate jock that I very much loved and that I loved spending time with. You could never find me in any kind of college setting. You could never find me in the company of bookworms and academics. Never in a million years. No, but not these kinds. And I automatically assumed that. And a lot of reporting went into this story, and it was gradually uncovered. Of course, everyone at the party in question had a recording device of one kind or another. It became obvious once all of the firsthand equipment was put together into a mosaic of the night. It became obvious that the entertainers were lying, and that the young men were innocent. And a lot of fallout happened. Prosecutors lost their jobs. One of them went to jail for a little while. There was a huge amount of civil settlement. And Cohen covers it all in this book. Well, he covers it well. I was a little more impatient with this book. This is the third time I've read it. I was a little more impatient with it the third time than the first two. And I don't believe that's entirely due to the fact that I now know a little bit. I'm more familiar with the subject. I think he overdoes it. I think he overwrites this book. I think it would have had a lot more power if it had been stripped down a little, so that we don't get every single word of every single witness, every single person that they ever said anywhere. You could have a little bit more confidence in your readers than that, I think. But still, gripping to read. And there's a lot about the culture of the Duke lacrosse team here. There's a lot about the legend of that team and some of the enormities that the team has perpetrated in the past for which they were guilty. A little bit of that in this book goes a long way as well, and yet we don't get just a little bit of it. We get a lot of it. So a retroactive review of this book, a review of it in retrospect, I don't remember who I reviewed it for in 2006. Maybe I didn't review it at all. 2006, 2007, whenever this book came out, this came out in 2010, I think. But whenever it came out, it wouldn't be my normal bailiwick to write about sports or even crime. So maybe I didn't. Maybe I just had really strong opinions about it. But the retrospective review is less good. This, it has longueurs. It bores in places. And it absolutely shouldn't. Considering the subject, it absolutely shouldn't. But I don't imagine there'll ever be a more thorough reporting here. This is as thorough an account of what happened as you can get. And I'm easing my way into Summer of Sports because I don't think that lacrosse fans would like this as an example of a sports book. I don't think they would at all. I think that a lot of people were still are giant fans of the Duke lacrosse team and don't like the fact that when you Google Duke lacrosse, I'm sure the first thing that comes up is Duke lacrosse scandal. I'm sure that's the first thing that comes up. The school certainly didn't like it, especially when it looked like when everybody was baying for the blood of these young men. There have been contrary accounts. One in particular, one very, very headline-grabbing contrary account that says despite the forensic evidence, despite the recordings, despite the confessions, despite everything, these guys had to be guilty. And I might have written about that book too. I could swear I've written about this scandal at least once. Maybe not this book. There have been plenty of others. But this was a good way to ease my way in. It brought back a lot of memories. It brought back the whole story. It raised associative memories from later years, things that didn't exist when the scandal was breaking, most especially the Covington High boys, which is a scandal from early in what historians will call the Trump era, the a-hole era, that a lot of people view as very similar to this, that the Covington High kids were innocent, they were completely maligned, and they won a judgment, major judgment against a major newspaper, so they must be innocent. There were all kinds of associations like that here, and for that I'm grateful, but I think 3 times is my limit for reading this book. So, and it's not specifically about sports, so I will move on to legitimate sports books next time. But I wanted to know that I still have an oar in the water for Summer of Sport, and I want to put it back on my radar. Maybe this reread was ill-advised, but most of my reading experiences for Summer of Sport so far have been very, very good, very interesting. So I want more of that. So, and it's a long, hot summer. We've got 10, 20 days of sultry heat in the offing here. So more books about sports will be fine by me. So I'll add one to the pile for tonight. No idea what it will be, and we'll talk about it next time. Thank you, BookTube.